Hey y'all, welcome to my studio. Yes, I am at my art table and I wanted to kind of deep dive into how I do an art journal spread, and hopefully that is something that you can learn from or that you're wanting to learn about if you're interested in art journaling. I have kind of like a formula that I usually follow, and I think it's really helpful, especially I just want to have fun on the page. I think by having a little formula, it's kind of loose, but I think by having that, it's like it lets me just kind of explore my ideas more. And so yeah, I thought I would go open a journal and kind of go through my process, and in doing so, I'm probably going to share my top favorite art journal supply. They are going to be ones that I have listed in my free guide to art journaling, which you can download. I will leave the link in the description. I'm not at 1,000 followers or whatever it is you need to be able to have active links in the description, but you can just copy and paste it. Side note, I'm in the process of kind of changing things with my website. So I don't necessarily have a website that you can go to right now, but I will put the link in it and you can just kind of check it out, like copy and paste it, and you'll be able to go directly to download that free guide. I think it's a really great guide. It has a shopping list in it of my top 10 art supplies. I do have active links in that. If you download it, you can click on the link and it'll take you to the item in Amazon. So disclaimer, I do make a small commission if you purchase any of these items. But really what this video is about is kind of going through the key points that I list in my free guide. And you don't even have to leave me your email for this guide. You can just click on the link and instantly download it. I think it's like 10 pages, and I think it has some really great tips in there, tips and tricks, but I'm going to kind of elaborate on those in this video today. So if you're wanting to learn more about art journaling, a little bit more about like how you can, develop a process in your journal and how it's going to help you just, I think explore your feelings, grow as an artist. These are just some of the reasons why I love art journaling and why I keep it as a regular practice. So I'm going to switch you to overhead. We're going to play in my journal and with some supplies, and hopefully we'll come out with a really great spread. And yeah, let's do this. All right, so we are at my art table. Don't mind the mess. And I wanted to show you really quickly the page in my guide that basically is like a shopping list. It's numbered so you know what item is what. You can click on the link, or you can print this out and take it with you and take it to the art store. These are just supplies that are like my go-to. I find myself reaching for them a lot even after I started art journaling in 2020. And a lot of these supplies I still find myself reaching for. And then the next page in my guide basically kind of defines what each of these items are and like why I use them or how I use them in my journal. So I just wanted to point that out, what I'm going to be using as kind of a guide as we go through this. And I wanted to just kind of go through these supplies really quickly. One of the items I have listed in my guide is the A. Strathmore art journal. And the only reason why I have this particular brand is because it is a mixed media art journal, and meaning that mixed media paper is a little bit thicker. You can put watercolor, you can put like wet acrylic, you can put all kinds of different art supplies on it, and it won't bleed through the page, and it'll let you kind of really do a lot of things on the page. So other journals, like maybe a composition book, I have a composition book here, are a lot less expensive, but they're going to be really limited in, you can still collage and things like that in them, but they're going to be a little bit more limited in how strong the pages are. And then of course you can always make your own journal. Here's one that I made from mixed media paper. Always just bind some pages together and make your own journal. But I found that this is a really great starter journal. And it's one that I used when I actually started art journaling. And I absolutely love the way it just held up to all different kinds of collage and paint and things like that. And so I do highly recommend it. It's a little bit pricey, but make sure, look for it when it's on sale at Michael's. A lot of times they will have their notepads and
artist pads on sale. So I will always look out for like the buy one get one free or the buy one get one half off sale if I want to pick one of these up. And then another journal that I found recently is from Hobby Lobby, and it is also a mixed media journal. And the reason why I like these two is because when you open them up, they lay flat. And if you were to buy another mixed media journal that had like a spiral bound around here, then you can't really like get to both pages, and it's just not really seamless. And so anyway, this one is probably about $20, maybe $15 to $20. And they're similar in size. I feel like this one's a little bit bigger, so maybe like 8.5 by 5.5, somewhere around there. This one is only $8.99, and you can catch it on a 40% off sale. And actually, I've seen it sometimes in Hobby Lobby where there's a pack of 2 for $8.99. So I don't have that listed in my guide. So just note that if you are a little bit on a budget, if you are on a budget and you're just starting out, you don't need to spend a lot. But I do recommend a mixed media journal. Yes, you can start with cheaper supplies, and I will talk about that in another video. If you're really wanting to use this in helping your art practice and playing with different art supplies and seeing how they work on the page, I do recommend kind of picking something with a stronger, thicker paper. So we'll probably be using this one today because this one is pretty much full already, and I don't really have very many blank pages. I feel like they're pretty comparable. I do feel like this one, the stuff kind of bleeds through the next page. But you can paint right over it or collage over it, which is what I did with this one. I used alcohol inks on this page and it bled through here. But as you can see, I was able to collage over that and you can't really see through it. So, and the pages don't really warp, which I love. So we're going to be using this journal today. And that's all I'll say about journals for now. I know I talked a lot about those, but the next thing I talked about was a black jelly roll pen, which I could not find mine. I do have a white one. Here's what it looks like in white. It looks the same, but in black. I do really like the jelly roll pens, but I think any kind of like fine tip black marker is a great go-to. I actually got this one at the Dollar Tree. I think it works just as great. I love the way it writes, and that's a little note on my desk. So I really do recommend this one as well, and it would only be like $1.25, but you could get a black pen at Michael's, probably same price or close to it. So maybe even like a Sharpie would be good. Let's see, well, you know what I'm talking about. A Sharpie, maybe a fine line Sharpie. Okay, so some kind of pen, and then maybe some, let's see if a pencil or maybe a charcoal. I do have charcoal listed here in my guide. I'm trying to see if I have any on my desk right now. Here's another little piece of charcoal. These are great for just sketching things out, but you could just as easily use a pencil, and you might need a sharpener too if you are using pencils. Of course, there are so many other pencils, colored pencils, watercolored pencils that you can use in your journal, but I like to kind of keep things simple. I think when you're just starting out, it's good to keep things simple and don't go crazy buying all kinds of art supplies. So the next thing we have is some gesso. I have a big old jar of gesso that I haven't gotten through yet. In my guide, I have the Liquitex brand, but really, I think this might be a Hobby Lobby brand, or maybe I got this at Michael's as well. But really, anything Liquitex, Golden, even a store brand would be fine, I think, in your journal. But gesso it's like a primer. It's like a primer for your journal, and it helps the page like accept different paint mediums and things like that. Posca paint pens. These are another of my go-tos. They are just like acrylic paint, but in a pen. And they are so fun to use, and they're really great for like fine lines and detail. I don't have an example of that right now, but we can like just grab this paint palette plate and I can draw on there. But you see like how much it really, and I could color it in, and it shows up pretty opaque. You see that? And it will dry and just like paint. And I could get a wet paintbrush before it dries, and I could kind of blend it out if I wanted to. Now, I probably wouldn't want to do that with this, but if I wanted to like put another color into it, my pen's kind of dried out. They do dry out after a while, but if I wanted to, I could kind of blend them together. See how it kind of made that side lighter? So it acts almost like paint, except for in a pen form, which are so fun. Now, these are kind of pricey. You can buy them individually at certain art supply stores. I even think you can get them individually at Michael's. And a lot of times they'll be on sale. Like they'll have a buy one, get one half off sale. Sometimes you can find them on sale on Amazon. I do recommend, so this set has really basic colors, but if there's colors that you're drawn to, I do recommend like maybe buying first the colors that you really like. You could start with the basic set. You definitely want white and black, and then just whatever other colors you're drawn to. Otherwise, you can just pick up that set, and I think that's a great start. So the other thing I have are watercolor paints, and of course watercolors come in all different forms. I have several sets of watercolor. This is a set from Michael's. It is their Artist Loft brand, and it's super inexpensive. I think it's less than $6. Definitely recommend just starting out with something simple. I love these because there's so many colors and you don't have to worry about mixing color. As you can see, that one has really gone through it. I have another one over here that is kind of newer. And whenever they're on sale, I pick them up just because I know I'm going to use them up. And yeah, they're just a super fun way to get lots of colors, and you don't have to really figure out mixing. When you're just starting out, you don't want to really have to worry about those technical things. You just want to explore and have fun on the page. So matte gel medium is kind of like I can use it as a glue. I can use it as a sealant. If I use it a lot in collage. Like if I want to do a collage, I will kind of pour some out on the page, spread it out on the page, and then attach my papers to the background. And then I can also seal a spread afterwards. Sometimes when you're painting in your journal, the paint you use can kind of stick together, and this is a great way to just seal what you did, and then the pages won't stick. And it comes in different sheens. So this is a matte sheen, and then there's a gloss one, so it's obviously it'd be more shiny. But I do think this is great, especially if you want to do collage. And I do use a lot of, I do glue a lot of things down in my journal. I don't just paint. So stencils, I have a ton of stencils here. I would love to get more. I like to just have basic patterns. These were fun. I think I actually got these maybe at like the dollar spot in Target like a really long time ago. And some of them I've bought like in craft stores, and I think I got this one at the Dollar Tree. And what I love about stencils is if you're just starting out and you're kind of apprehensive about drawing, maybe you don't really know how to draw a flower, you can use a stencil and stencil it out, and that will kind of help you, enable you to easily add like a drawn element to the page. And so yeah, we'll maybe use this one later in our journal. The last two things I have are a brayer and a jelly plate. So a brayer, twofold for me. Sometimes I like to just put some paint on a page and like spread it out with my brayer. I really love the effect that it does, and maybe we'll use this later for that reason. And then a jelly plate is a really great item for making prints. So basically you put paint on, or you put paint on the plate, you spread it out with the brayer. Here, I'll take it out. So you put paint on the plate. I have to clean mine, it's very dirty. And you spread it out, and you kind of spread it out with the brayer, and then you take a piece of paper and you lay it on there, and it pulls a print. And you can also just like press it into, you can press it down into the page of your journal. So maybe we'll do a little bit of that too. So I'm already getting some ideas on how we can do our journal spread with just these items alone. And I would say if you purchased all of these items, maybe around, if you like got like a whole set of these paints and you didn't get anything on sale, maybe around $50 would probably be the total that you would spend. Of course, you don't have to spend that much. You can really just start art journaling with things that you have around your house, and I will do another video about that because I do really think that you shouldn't let your budget or how many art supplies you have limit you to being creative. So we'll do a Dollar Tree edition where I talk about supplies that I've accumulated from the Dollar Tree and how I like to also create in a composition notebook, but that'll be another video. For now, we're gonna just kind of keep it traditional. I'm gonna put my guide away, and then we are going to record our journal session. All right, so before we get into the journal spread, I just wanted to also share with you, in my guide, I kind of talk about my process and how I've used all of these supplies in my journal, and I kind of show you the progression of my page spread, and I also take you through some prompts and how you can, you know, if you're stuck at a step, what could you do? You maybe could add some color, you could write something, you could add an image, you could make a mark, and it's really that simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated. So yeah, we're gonna go through it. I just wanted to share that with you. Some other things I might bring up that are kind of incidental, but I think also are very helpful. Obviously, you might want some paint brushes, and you could easily purchase like a cheap set of brushes. I like to kind of keep it simple with a wash brush, maybe an angle brush, and a round brush. These are kind of my three go-tos. I usually don't use anything crazier than that, but a palette knife would be helpful too. This one's got lots of paint on it, so I might see if I find another one, but it's not necessarily, you can just use a brush. I don't want to really get into a lot of different supplies because I'm trying to keep it simple here. So of course you need a jar with some water. This is just a simple mason jar, but you could use any kind of vessel that you have for water. I'm going to move these out of the way. The other thing I like to have handy, okay, so I like to keep kind of a large clip, but you could also use like a binder clip to kind of keep the page flat. And it also kind of weighs down the page so that the page is not like too bouncy. But yeah, so the other thing I wanted to mention was, you know, you might want to just grab a magazine or an old book that you could add some collage to. And I'm just going to grab some pages here. Not going to really be super picky. I kind of like these colors, but I want to kind of a neutral background as well. I also really love to use like book pages and tissue paper, but I kind of wanted to show you, you know, all of the ways that you can use the supplies that we're mentioning today. So first we're going to start with some gesso. And gesso can come in some different colors. It doesn't just come in white. And I'm just going to scoop some out and put it on the page. My gesso is kind of drying up here. But as you can see, it's kind of like a thick consistency. Don't need a lot. Okay, I think that's plenty. And I'm gonna set that aside here. I'm just gonna use my big wash brush. I'm going to put these over here and we'll come back to them later. And you know what, before I do that, the other thing I could do, sorry if I seem all over the place, but I want to also kind of demonstrate to you. So before we spread this gesso, let's do a little bit of collage as well. Just going to rip up this paper, and I don't have to be so like it's always fun to have kind of torn edges, so let's do that instead. Torn edges. I find having a little bit of text in the background and starting out this way kind of helps the fear of like the blank page. So the other thing I'm going to do before we spread this gesso out is put a little bit of my matte gel medium. Now if you wanted to, you could also use a glue stick to glue these papers down, but I find that sometimes it gets a little crinkly. And I'm just going to spread this matte gel medium all over the page. And I probably put way too much, and that's okay. There is no right or wrong way to art journal, and it's okay if I have something kind of hanging over the page. I can trim it later if I want to. So you want to be fast because this can dry pretty quickly. And let's see, we'll put one more little piece right here. I'm trying to use what I have on my brush because I don't want to put. Now, the thing about matte gel medium, it's just like gesso. You can paint right over it and it will accept your paint. I'm going to borrow some of the gesso that we have on our page here and just kind of, now I didn't let my matte gel medium dry. I was very bad. That's probably not a good habit to have. But I'm being impatient right now. And I'm also noticing that the blue is kind of peeking through this magazine page because it had blue on the other side. But yeah, you see how I'm just barely spreading this gesso out and it's kind of like letting the text peek through, which I really love. Now, of course, if you had like an old book or something like that, you could definitely use that. I love old book pages. I could probably even use this gesso kind of like a glue. Let's see. So I could stick this on top and just gesso right over it. Like I said, I'm being very messy. And this is the thing I love about art journaling is there really are no rules. I mean, of course, you know, if you're really wanting to be kind of exploring like color themes and how certain supplies work, you might want to be a little less reckless than I'm being right now. But really, I like to just have fun on the page. I'm putting this little piece of paper here because I have a lot of liquid on the page and I don't want it to leak through the other side. So I'm going to put this right here. And you can see, can't really see the gesso very much, but it's a start. And now I don't have a blank page and I have something to work off of. So I'm going to just dry this really quick and then we will do something else. All right, so our page is dry and now I'm going to use the jelly plate really quickly. I'll show you two ways that I like to use the jelly plate, and I didn't clean my jelly plate, so don't judge me. I can probably just add some water to it and it will clean it right up. I really like that blue color that's on there. I'm not really sure what color that is, but I can just take my watercolor palette here. I'm really trying right now to stick to supplies that are in my guide. So this is a little sprayer bottle that I picked up at Dollar Tree. You can get 2 for $1.25. So I wet my, and I'm just going to dab these colors onto my jelly plate, and we're going to make a print on the background. I don't need a lot because you'll see when I go to squish it, whoops, and I don't know what's going to happen. That's the fun thing about the jelly plate is it's always a surprise, and I can just squish down, and I love how I'm getting kind of like this watery kind of effect. And this is just a layer. I think it's a really good idea to just keep layering things in your journal and just playing. The other thing I could do if I wanted to is let's take another piece of paper. Let's see. We have this other piece of text right here that we can use. This is another, I'll kind of demonstrate what I mean by pulling a print. This is, all right. I really like the idea of maybe like a pinky color to contrast. Just really getting the paint really wet so I can just pick up some of that color and put it on my plate. And I can just take my piece of paper, stick it down, and you will see how it just picks up that paint. And I just love that effect. I think that is really cool. I'm going to show you the way that you kind of normally, traditionally use the jelly plate really quick. So let's do, now you don't need a lot, and this is just some little craft paint. And you just put a little bit there. Let's put a little bit of white. All right. That's a lot of white, but that's okay. So I've got this kind of pinky white. Now the thing is you don't want to have too much paint. So I'm putting a very small amount so that I don't have too much paint on my plate. And all those little marks you're seeing are just probably things that I have on my brayer because I probably need to clean my brayer. Found this piece of sketch paper and I'm just gonna lay it down. I'm sorry, this is super unconventional. But I'm trying to just reach for what I have around me so I don't make this video like super long. It's already probably super long. All right, and so we're gonna pull, and there you see it. You have a print. Now, of course, this isn't the most exciting print, but I do love the color. There's so many more things you can do with the jelly plate that I can't even get into right now, but I just wanted to kind of explain the basics to you. Here was an image that I had that I really liked, and so we're gonna cut her out. Just gonna quickly cut her out. I'm not gonna be particularly extra careful. So I find that, you know, using magazine images can be a great way to kind of add an element. We can do a little bit of collage. Let's see, where should we put her? Let's first do this. Let's stencil some flowers. I think she could have some flowers in the background. So let's do that. And what I was saying before is I love how you can use a stencil to draw. I'm going to use a black pen. I'm going to use that black pen. So I'm going to trace this stencil really quick. And, you know, obviously I'm explaining this to you, and so I'm probably overthinking a lot of things. When you're in your journal, you're just going to, you know, intuitively kind of see where you're drawn to. You know, just let the supplies and the page speak to you. So there's kind of an outline of a flower, and I'm going to put another flower right here. That'll be fun. Sorry, I'm so indecisive. I just want to get through this page quickly for y'all so that it is not like the video that never ends. So we're going to move a little bit faster. I don't know about you, but I get really impatient with YouTube videos when I watch them. I'm like, I just get to the point. But maybe you're more patient than I am. Okay, so I like that. That is not bothering me at all. We're going to get our watercolors. We could also use our paint pens, but right now we're going to use our watercolors first. And so I'm going to use this brush, this round brush that I like, and we're going to go in and we're going to do some pink flowers. I really love the way the background is showing through my flowers because it's really giving it like some texture. And what I love about watercolor is you can like, it looks so like artsy without you even like trying, honestly. If you're just really loose with it, you can really get a page spread done quickly without like too much thought. And I feel like I want this color to be brighter, but I'm just not going to think about it too much. So now I'm going to go with like a lighter Or maybe I'll do a purpley pink for this flower. Kind of looks the same, but purpley pink. So we're filling that in, and I'm just kind of, you know, in this instance, letting that black, the black lines of the ink show through. And if you notice, like, I haven't even dried, really, I dried my background like once. And that's kind of how I like to work. I'm going to save this for later because I think I might use it across. So let's see. I really don't like to glue things to the middle of the page. Let's dry this really quick and then we will see what we're going to do next. It's pretty much dry. I'm going to glue her to the page. Now I'm going to use a glue stick in this instance, or I could totally, let's use matte gel medium. So we're going to put a little bit. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit all over the place. This is how my brain works, but I'm really trying to show you that you don't need a lot of supplies. Obviously, I feel like everyone has a glue stick at home, but I wanted to show you just the versatility of matte gel medium. I'm gonna stick her right there. Right there. Hopefully she sticks. I might need a little bit more. If you use glue stick, it's probably a little less messy. And then doing images on the crease is always tricky because you want your page to open and close easily and correctly. So let's really dig it into the, and then if I want it to really stick, I'm going to seal it. So I'm going to put a bunch of matte gel medium over her. I don't necessarily have to do that, but, and I'm kind of smearing my colors here because I think matte gel medium might do that to watercolor, and that's okay. We can always go back over it. I like how the matte gel medium is picking up some of the color and it's kind of adding it to her. So that's fun. I think I'm going to add, let's see, what have we gone through? We've done a pen. We haven't done any white pen, which, you know, I feel like is essential. You need either a Uniball, I don't know if I talked about this before, but a Uniball white Signo gel pen or a white Posca pen. If you do not want to get a whole set of Posca pens, you should at least get black and white of the Posca. And I buy them on Amazon because I find they're a little bit cheaper because you can get them in like packs of 3 or whatever. But if you're just starting out, you can pick up the colors that you need at Michael's individually. So I'm going to dry this again and we're going to finish this page. All right, I think she's pretty dry. And what I love about the Posca pens especially is that you can like draw over things. I love that she has like this pattern in her coat, and sometimes I like to just make things a little funky. Whoops. And I'll just give her some, just accenting her face just for fun. And then maybe like going in here. Sometimes you have to really shake these to get them for the paint to come out. Okay, and then I think I will give her maybe some like blue streaks in her hair to kind of go with this blue that we have on the page. Like I said, there are no rules in art journaling, and you might think that I just totally ruined this image, but you know what? We're just having fun. We're just playing. We're just experimenting. So I want to finish up this page because I know this video is already super long. We pretty much used all of our supplies. Yeah, I feel like we've used pretty much everything, but this page is feeling still a little unfinished for me. So I'm going to add one more flower. Trying to make it. I feel like 3 flowers on the page would make sense. And I'm just trying to arrange it to where I think the composition looks good. Of course, you don't have to think about it that much. I'm thinking about it a lot and probably way too much. So I'm going to go ahead and just trace it again, since I traced the other ones, and I'll fill them in with watercolor again, and we'll see how that turns out. It may be a hot mess and it may look really cool, but this is the whole point. You're just kind of experimenting and you're playing in a way that is not like, you know, super scary, because you're just, oh, I don't know if I like that purple. No, we do not like that. Let's keep it to the pinks. You're playing in a way that's not super scary, and yeah, that's better. You're not wasting a canvas, and you're, you know, maybe you're trying out an idea on the page, and you're you know, you have an idea for a painting, and you want to see, like, you want to test out the composition, you want to test out your supplies that you are anticipating on using, which is why I recommend using a mixed media journal, because that's really going to enable you to kind of see how your supplies are going to react. And we're going to put some yellow in the middle of this flower like the other one. Okay. Just kind of dabbing that. So she's got some flowers. I can go back in if I want to and like add some little details. My pens don't want to work right now. Let's see. Okay, so I think this page is pretty close to being done. I might add, like, I definitely want a quote up here, and I'm trying really hard not to use another art supply that I didn't talk about, like paint. But you could definitely use, like, let's get some white paint. Got some white paint here, and I think I'm just gonna use my brayer just to kind of dull this down just a little bit, because the background is super busy. Oops. And I want her to be like the focal point. So in art journaling, we try to like decide what is the focal point. That really helps you with a layout. As you can see, like the brayer is spreading out the paint, but like in a really organic way. And you can't really tell because it's white and the background's already white. I feel like it's dulling down my watercolor just a little bit. I like to kind of keep a book of quotes. I also have in my Etsy shop some pre-printed quotes that you can print out. Let me see if I have any in here. That would be good. So yeah, in my Etsy shop, I have some quotes that you can print out and cut out. And I kind of like this one because she looks like she's like anticipating something. It says, "The best is yet to come." Or I have what it takes. Let's see, what do we have? Weird and wonderful. This page is definitely weird and wonderful. I think I like the best is yet to come. So we're going to use that. And also I'm feeling like my background is still, since I'm not going to fill in this space, I am going to take my watercolor brush and let's see, what color will I use? I'm going to use yellow since I feel like, do I want to use yellow? I could use light pink. Let's do light pink. See what light pink looks like. As you can see, I like this color a lot because it's pretty much gone. So I'm using a lot of water on my brush so I can really grab that color. And I'm just going to tap. Ooh, I love that. And I'm just going to add. And what I like about when I do, this is like one of my favorite go-tos in my journal, is doing splatters. What I like about it is it adds another layer to your background without it like really covering up. So like I really love how we got that watery effect from the jelly plate, and I didn't want to cover that up. So I am going to glue this on. Now I'm going to use my matte gel medium, but you could easily just use glue stick. I'm going to put it right there because that's where I want to, and I probably would recommend glue stick. I'm just being really, I don't know what you call it. I'm just being really like sticking to the rules of what I set for myself. So I'm going to put that on there, stick it down. I just want you to see how versatile matte gel medium is, because literally you could use it for anything. And yeah, I could take my pen and maybe add a few more details to my flowers if I wanted to. Maybe define them just a little bit more. This is all very wet, so that's probably not going to work. And one thing I do, you'll notice about me, is I use and abuse my art supplies. Like, I probably use them in a lot of like unconventional ways and then wonder why they don't work later. All right, so we're just, you know, we're just having fun on the page. We're adding our own little, you know, making these marks and things makes it personal and makes it more you. So I'm going to dry this so we can really just have this page be done and we can add our final little touches. All right, I think we're dry. And I just want to say that if I were to be sitting here in my studio, I probably would work on this page. Like, I could probably work on this page like another 30 minutes. This is not working, so let's try. Let's try the Posca pen. Yeah, I would probably work on this page another 30 minutes, and that line is very thick, and that's not really what I wanted. So, and as you can see, I'm so impatient. But, you know, this is the thing. It's like you kind of learn. This is a great practice in that you can, you know, just sit here for 10-15 minutes a day and just play around. We'll talk in another video about like what supplies to have on hand, because I really do think it helps to have some collage elements on hand and things like that. But yeah, if I was working on this page some more, I would probably maybe, you know, stencil half of the flowers, like add 2 more, just so it doesn't feel so empty. Or maybe if you didn't want to put a little quote here, you would write in these empty spaces. You could journal. So I could do that too. I could journal about what the best is yet to come means to me. Like, and I actually love that idea, honestly. So we're going to dry this, and I'm just going to probably speed it up and add a few more things to the page so this video isn't like, you know, even longer than it has to be. But I really hope that you get inspired by this process. And of course, your process can be anything you want it to be. It does not have to be what I'm doing, but I hope that you're inspired to try art journaling and just see how easy it can be to make a page spread and how much fun you can have with just a few supplies. And these are supplies that I will use time and time again in my journal. And of course I have a ton more supplies, but I think just starting out, you should just like not go crazy. But what I love about all of these supplies, especially like the gesso and the matte gel medium, these transfer to a canvas. So these are supplies that you probably even would use on a canvas. And then, you know, you can figure out what paints you like. I think there are so many different types of paint. You know, that's something that I'm not going to recommend on here in this video. You may already have paints that you like to work with. And also, I think different types of paint call for different situations of like what effect you're trying to create. So I'm going to speed up the video, finish this page. I thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, or if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. I think I'm going to do my next video on Dollar Tree, things that I would buy from the Dollar Tree if I wanted to start that way in art journaling. And so if there's another video or something else you'd like me to talk about or that you have questions about, please let me know, and I will see you on the next one.